We have this massive breakout here on the weekly for a great continuation. So I sized back up. I took an A sizing into the position with some longer dated contracts, and really understanding when you can size up accounts is how you go from a noob trader to a break even trader to a pro, is understanding when to size. Okay, so the noob is likely just losing money. You have the break even trader who is probably better than they even think they are. They might get some wins, they'll then take some losses, and then they'll manage to fight back, but at the end of the day they kind of end flat, right? This is someone who is sizing the same on every position, and they don't know how to set up a ratings. And then for the pro trader, they're taking in several things into account, right? They are understanding that not all setups are the same, not all risk rewards are the same, and they understand how to size between an A or a B or a C, and that's where you're going to still take losses, but you're going to be able to fight your way up or even have big moments where you have massive wins on your accounts. Now, for me, that gold trade was one of those. I had a very outsized position there. I was looking for a very big move. I gave it the A set up. I had a large allocation into that. And so this was a fantastic week for me because I had that outsized large swing position in my swing account. So I had a massive upswing in my account. You know, we take lots of like intraday C positions, and some of these are just getting the reps in, making sure that we're, you know, letting statistics play out in our favor. We're making sure we're still taking some swings, and that allows us to still be kind of in tune with the market in a way, right? And when you are guys, are we not screen sharing here? Is this not up? Okay. Sorry. This is what I've been typing up while I talk. Okay, sorry. Technical difficulties. But this is how you scale up and how you grow. You know, you can grow as the break-even trader if you have an insane win rate. But even then, you might sort of struggle. The other thing that we went over today, let me get back into my dummy account, and this is in our actually, it doesn't matter, it's a dead account, so it doesn't really matter if I give away the account value. Let's change screens for the stream. Sorry, YouTube, and we're doing this live and we're recording it. And make sure to join the Discord. But like someone asked about this today, how to analyze the risk profile of trades, right? So like we have CRISPR up here, so we can say, all right, what if I took the CRISPR $50 calls for May, let's say. We'll take the $50 calls. We can then go to the risk profile here, and we can say, okay, this is the point at which I'm break even, given where the stock is at right now. I'm spending $60, okay, and we'll then can hop over to a chart, okay, and we could say, all right, based on the construction of this chart, it looks like if it gets under maybe even 36, I might call that a stop. So then you could go back to your analyze risk profile, and you can go to 36. Okay, so if this goes down to 36, I'm going to lose $40 per contract. So given that that's when I say that this trade's no longer working, and now that I know that is the loss I'm going to take, I can then adjust my sizing based on how much I'll lose if the trade doesn't work, right? And this is great for the mental because you're not getting greedy and oversizing, thinking about how much you can make. You're staying you're staying constructive and you're managing your risk and you're thinking about how much you can lose and you're thinking in the probabilities. Okay. So that's also a great way to kind of control that risk, or you even say, okay, maybe actually that's a little bit more that I want to lose, or maybe, and I'll revisit it if it gets to 38, or maybe just say, okay, well that's a big loss, so I guess I'm only going to take one contract, and then to see how that pans out. It's depending on your account size, right? There's a lot of different factors that you should be considering when that's just the pre-market setup that you have, the key levels that are being broken, what sort of catalyst is driving the price action, and then how much you're going to lose if you hit your stop are the factors that you should be considering when you're looking to go from to climb the hierarchy here, all right? To go from a new trader to a break-even trader to a pro trader, all right? If you're struggling with how to do the pro sizing, go to my X account, and it's pinned in there, a Google document talking about sizing with an example of like a $25,000 account, what allocation goes into each of these, or you can look at the free education that we have in the Discord. I talked to a lot of Discord members, by the way, that I'll ask them, like, have you read, if you're a pro member, have you read our playbook? A lot of people haven't, and that playbook, I'll tell you guys, that playbook is solid gold. All right, best thing I ever have written. But the free education's still really good too. There's still the sizing documents in there. There's still the trade rules in there. And very frequently questions that people ask me are answered in the free education in the Discord. And a lot, that's a really good resource. Make sure you use it, guys, because it's very helpful. All right, and so... and this is classes we've done in the past, so I'm gonna try to move on from here because it is very repetitive for a lot of our newer members. I see a question here about when I started my gold position. We actually first bought gold, I want to say November of last year is when we started our gold position. Because we held it in December. No, I started my gold position in October of last year. And it looks like I actually even started it in September. No, October 2nd is the first day that I started slow buying gold. So it would have been like right around here is when I started buying gold in the long term. And for YouTube, I'll show that here because I'm always, you know what, this might be one to even might be one to share the socials. Little look at me go type of thing. That's when we started buying gold, and then today we actually started selling some of those profits. There was another question there. Age like fine wine, indeed. Markets typically drop 20%, then rebound. We hit 19.8. Do you think we could turn the corner? I do. I just am a little bit cautious because of what we talked about. Like, I want to see VIX come down some more. There's still a ton of fear price in this market, and I know that I'm going to miss some of the upside, and that's probably going to be what the driver is for this to come down. Like, there's even a good chance that what we see come Monday is you see, probably a good gap down to like 29 from the VIX, as long as the weekend news is well behaved. But I'm still thinking you got to be a little bit cautious here because of that. And even today, like, we are getting this upswing today, but the R-vol's dead. Look at the collapse there in volume today. So we got this slow, low liquidity melt up. It's not really what you want to see as confirmation of the rebound. So I really want to see what next week brings us, and if we can get a little bit more oomph in the buying. Dollar back down. So there's been a lot of funkiness. It's been actually a little bit of a disconnect I've noticed between equities, bonds, dollar, US dollar, and then the VIX persistently high. It's really messy from the macro viewpoint, and a lot of that's the panic coming from Japan, where they are Tuesday and Wednesday were trying to save their banks. Then yesterday, they were giving speeches and trying to mess around with the basically the monetary system, doing some easing and stuff, and talking about different ways to prevent basically their financial collapse. As a ripple effect of what happened to U.S. markets. And so that's caused some turbulence in the bond market. That's what caused them to pull off on the tariffs as well, because these U.S. treasuries being sold off hand over fist, and the spike in yields is definitely something to be a bit concerned about. If this continues on the path to 5%, stocks today, this morning, were a little bit hesitant because of the price action in TLT, but they eventually just overcame it, and we also saw even this kind of clear up. So this is looking a lot better. If it can get back over 88, if VIX can come down, then we see, well, that'll be enough for me, regardless of what the dollar does. That'll be enough for me to really slam some more swings. I still had a bit of an appetite today. I was buying some more AVUV. Today, I did set up some swings in some biotech names as well. There's not enough liquidity on AVUV for any options positions, and I don't think we're there yet. So, like, the way I'm handling this is I'm slow by this every day, and then I'm gonna, fingers crossed, because what I really want to see is another plunge. And I want to see us test the lows one more time. That would be honestly very ideal. Or even if we can go slightly below it and test 4,700, I think that's the most ideal outcome, is that you see some sort of back test there. I would be if we don't get it though, I will move if VIX and bonds start behaving. That'll be enough for me. Nope, we did not chat about Bitcoin yet. We could chat about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's had a nice solid recovery. We got what I wanted today. I wanted us into the market close to be over 82,000. We can see that the daily chart is trying to clean up here, and I really like the double bottom we set here around 74,000. There's some key levels in here of support that we would, if we started kind of taking these out one by one, that'd be cause for concern. But instead, we're really holding this bullish structure here. Just brilliantly. So, in my opinion, that's really bullish, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of the hype behind gold becomes some of the hype behind Bitcoin in the short term. And then the big question that we want to ask is, my big macro thesis is that small caps for the next several years will start to outperform the large caps due to the fact that they're more oversold than the large cap names. And I think we might have some evaluation compression. But there's a lot of little gems, honestly, in the small caps that are pretty undervalued and still making money. And I think they could also get a big boost from lower operating margins via AI and robotics. But then the question is, does Bitcoin get considered the same as those, or does Bitcoin continue to trend with tech? So will Bitcoin trend with the small caps, or will it or is it going to get the boost? And right now, judging from how this weekly looks, like this could be bottomed, unlike lots of stocks in the S&P. I mean, it's been really supportive here. I mean, we got the more lows like I was expecting, but nowhere near as deep as I was expecting. And if we look at this weekly bullish EMA trend here, like, this is exactly what you want to see if you're a Bitcoin mega bull. If you're a Bitcoin maxi, you're buying more here just off the technicals. And then if you break the lows, the previous lows, you'll get out. But you're a buyer here. In my opinion, we come in, we test this weekly. By the way, what I'm talking about is this blue channel right here. You come back and you test that and you hold it. You're holding major key levels. The big breakout range here got defended. So yeah, I think it's a buy. And if I think the bulls are getting what they want, it's time to see if it's got the same oomph that gold has, if it can kind of hijack that narrative a bit. And then for gold, I think we might be getting to the end of the run a bit sooner than I expected. I'd like to see. I think we got enough juice to keep going a little bit longer. But one of the things I don't like is we get this flip on the daily, which is beautiful, but it becomes so overextended so fast. And that could be a bit concerning. So this momentum might become a little bit barcoded, where we'll go from dark to light, and this might kind of like chop and consolidate after that really like massive move. What happened here is that we had several. So, this week felt like a month, honestly, but that's what happens when VIX is persistently high. So much happens, but nothing in the market was really recovering very well, and there were no standout performers except gold across all commodities, across Forex, across the entire financial markets. Gold was the only thing that was consistently going up. So everyone piled into it. So I wouldn't be surprised if this now has to go through a consolidation phase after getting such a vicious bounce out of the hole that it did. Or if some of that money even just likes the idea and kind of trends into GDX. We saw even into the close today. I believe that miners actually outperformed gold. They managed to reclaim the high, and I believe gold actually sold off a little bit into the close. It did. So it did not. So it's just chopping sideways while GDX is still kind of getting some more upswing. I think that trend can actually continue, and this could continue to catch up. I did get a DM from someone who was saying that silver was starting to look interesting and having a nice recovery. Again, as I've said before, I actually tried silver calls, swing calls. I don't remember when. It was recent. It was a few months ago, and silver is just such a ruggy. The trends are so ugly, and it just loves to rug. It does not act like gold. I mean, just even look how messy this chart is. So you are climbing over the EMAs here. You are getting the nice cross on the RSI. You've got your and you are even on bullish, straight up bullish on the weekly. So you got to flip back to the upside on the weekly. You're about to climb over the most bullish EMA cloud. So yeah, I will say that it looks great, but it's probably not for me. Every time I touch silver, it likes to steal my money. It's one of those few things where it's like it doesn't matter how good I am as a trader. I just somehow always seem to lose money on this thing. So I just try not to touch it. Bull mooning. So that's an interesting one. This is the Webull IPO. And I imagine I'll look at this more over the weekend. There just wasn't a lot of volume. I only looked at it once. There's only 2 million. So it's just looked like it's being ellipsed by the rest of the market. I noticed. So that's not correct. Let's see where I'll have to look up what the actual market cap is, but I believe it's actually pretty undervalued. I think it's smaller than Hood, but Hood is your best comparison there. So if you're wanting to do some research on your own, this is the two that you compare, because Hood sits at just under 40 billion right now. And that's after a substantial sell-off from the highs. And I believe Webull's 2/3 the size. So that's something to keep in mind. This is starting to look really nicely too, by the way. I noticed that JP Morgan was leading on the day, and I know that we have earnings season right around the corner. So that's the next, we'll talk about that over the weekend on how to look out for that earnings season. I do expect us to get back into a more normal. If the market continues to clean up, we'll get back into a more normal morning watch list and pre-market discussions and stuff like that. It's just been a week of, every time like this look right here, this heat map is what I want to see. This is actually part of the cleanup, right? Because all week this week, everything was trending together. This heat map was either all green or all red every day this week, and I don't like to see that. And today, finally, we have nice little shades here, right? There's actual winners and actual losers in the market, and so that's price action. Kind of that's what do I want to say? Maturing a bit, and the market starting to filter out the news and kind of pick out winners and losers rather than these massive flows in and out from algorithms. So this is actual stock selection, which means that that the market is starting to actually price in things appropriately rather than just huge panic swings. So this is what I do like to see. And JP Morgan leading the way, Schwab doing really well. This great performance in banks is going to be interesting coming into earnings soon. We're going to get some reports from here, and that will be really interesting for names like Hood even. So that's good. Definitely going to be on the radar. We'll probably talk about that more on the newsletter or over a weekend video. 6.24 billion. Yeah. So that's probably has some room to run for sure on Webull. It's a really popular platform. I think the user base is substantial, but I don't know if the DAUs, the daily active users, is available yet. So that might be one to take a swing at. They got a great ticker. I mean, how do they even get the bull ticker? It's a big win. I don't see any other questions here, guys. Can I get some ones in the chat? If you guys feel fulfilled, did we learn something? For the new people, it's so important that you... Where's my drawings? That you learn about the... Did I just lose my drawings? Okay. I just lost my drawings. Anyways, it's all recorded. It's going to be on YouTube, but it's so important that you learn how to size your trades appropriately and how you learn to assess the risk and reward of each trade. Not all trades are the same, and learning to size appropriately and knowing when you can really size up into trades is how you're really going to take your P&L to the next level. And I guess I removed them, and I just did that in robotically. I didn't even realize it. I see lots of ones though. People enjoyed it. We did a nice half hour there. There's not a lot of individual trades to go over, but for all the new people, I'm going to do another free week next week until the market clears up, until it's not, in my opinion, extremely difficult. I'm going to continue do another free week just to be a good Samaritan, kind of give back a little bit. And I hope you all enjoy your weekend. I think that's about all we want to cover. Great job this week. We made great profits. We killed it. It wasn't the best win rate. Oh, no, it was actually pretty good. Yeah, it was just overall a good week. So great round of applause, everyone. Remember, if you did struggle a bit more this week, this was very tough, extremely volatile. If you got one thing wrong, you were likely getting blown out. And we're walking away with this clean. And the easy stuff comes after this. So we'll wait for it to clean up a bit, and then we'll probably be able to slam out some really easy trades, especially since the market's starting to clean up a bit. So this is going to get really fun. We made a bunch on the downside. We made a bunch on gold and some other more minor names. But that gold position was a very massive win. And I think we got a few more massive wins. You know, biotech's going to be really interesting, and small caps as well. It's going to be a huge focus of my attention. And I'll just say, like, trading next year, or even maybe even the second half of this year, is going to be very different from the previous years. The tickers we're going to be trading are going to be completely different. The type of analysis we're going to be doing is completely different. We're going to be playing in all sorts of different names than we have in the past. Less of the big tech names, if my thesis is correct, and more of these small value caps. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And because that's going to be a lot of volatility in that. So there's going to be a lot of money to be made if you've got, you know, a good playbook to pull from. So I'm super pumped. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be somewhat new for me, but I know that the strategies I use are even just better in that type of market environment. So that's going to be killer. I think we'll make more than ever from that. Keep pushing the wins and the returns. So I'm really pumped. Nonetheless, I don't see any other questions, and I think I've rambled my breath out. So we'll go ahead and call it, guys. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. All right. Thanks for being members. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you learned lots. If you have any other questions, don't be afraid to ping me or send me a DM. Okay. God bless, guys.